Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the MonkeyCast. I am Aaron Holbrook.
I am Max Brandeis.
We're both hanging out here and decided we wanted to do another one, so we're going to do it. Our intro song today was created and recorded by Mr. Michael Valdez. Michael, thank you very much for your work there, and sounds awesome, and we're going to use it a lot because we like it. Okay, so let's cut right to it. Today we are, of course, going to let you all know again about our fundraising campaign. We're trying to raise up the money to take a lot of the initial steps towards getting our store reopened, and we're planning on opening in Thurston County in the Tumwater area to help bring another quality gaming store to Thurston County. Jump onto our Indiegogo campaign, check out our website at igg.me/@/HOFM. Check out our campaign, take a look at the videos. If you have a question about the campaign or any specifics on what we're going to use funds for, feel free to ask right there on the site, and we will answer the questions quickly and hopefully satisfy all your curiosity. Any donation helps us.
$5, $6, $1, anything helps us further our efforts towards reopening the House of Flying Monkeys, and would be greatly appreciated by both Aaron and myself.
And if you donate certain amounts, then we give you presents because, everybody deserves presents.
Who doesn't like presents?
I like presents.
I love presents.
Something that Max and I have been doing a lot recently is playing a probably larger than average amount of board games.
Larger than average that we've played together. Absolutely. We've been watching Tabletop that's hosted by Will Wheaton, which has given me an opportunity to look at games and decide if I wanted to buy them. And this show actually helped me buy 2 new games, Resistance and King of Tokyo. Resistance being sort of how would you describe it?
Resistance is kind of a strategy type board game. It's definitely a game to play when you've got a fairly large group of people. It's 5 to 10 players?
Yeah, minimum 5 players, which is very unusual for a board game. But definitely nice because I know I have some groups that can get into the 5 to 10 person range. And usually you can't find many games that'll support more than 5 or 6 at most.
Right. And it's also nice because the price point on it's nice and low. It's under $20 pretty much anywhere you find it. And for a game that is going to require you to have 5 people, it's nice that you're not getting raked over the coals when it comes to the price tag. But it's definitely a strategy game. A couple of people play spies, and the rest of the people are members of the Resistance.
The Resistance are trying to win, and the spies are trying to prevent it. And it's very fun to accuse your friends of being spies, or if you're the spy and try to make other people think other people are the spies. It's very fun, very easy to learn, quick and easy to set up and put away.
We were talking about how fast it takes under 2 minutes to set it up.
Yep. And if everybody knows the rules, you can get right down to it. And in an hour, you could easily play 5, 6, 7 games. No problem. The other game, also very quick to set up, King of Tokyo. It's a battle royale, King of the Hill type game with monsters. I, again, saw this game on Tabletop, and it looked amazingly fun to play. I got it. It was still a fairly low price game. I think I got it for about $30 at my local store up in Seattle, and I've played it with a bunch of friends. It's very fun, and anyone can win. Aaron and I were playing with his kid, 8-year-old son. He beat us both because we weren't paying attention.
The nice thing that I liked about it is that the 8-year-old was able to grasp the rules in about 5 minutes. He understood exactly what needed to be done and exactly how to play without a whole lot of confusion. Anytime that you can have a game that people older than 8, since I won't say how old Max and I are, when, older people or regular aged people.
There you go.
There's no good way for me to say this. Let's say regular aged people are able to enjoy it just as much as an 8-year-old is.
Together even.
And an 8-year-old can understand it just as well as the regular aged people. I think there's a lot to be said for that game. And that game takes even less time to set up. You can usually have that set up in under 60 seconds. So
it's another game you can play, I believe, 2 to 6. So again, the exact range that we were discussing on why Resistance is nice for larger groups. This game's great, but it only can go up to 6. I haven't played it with more than 4, but even at 4 people, 3 people, game is amazingly fun.
Well, last night we sat down and it took us 35 minutes to play with 4 players.
Yeah.
And so the time on the box that's estimated is 30 minutes.
Didn't we play 2 games?
No, we only played one. We just played one. And Gigazor triumphed, as it should be.
And now we're going to touch back on another game I discussed earlier, X-Wing, the miniatures game. We actually had a big game of that tonight with 6 people playing, and we brought in some of the newer expansion vehicles, the Millennium Falcon, Slave One, and a TIE Interceptor. I definitely like the expansions. I thought they were a lot of fun. I probably would say the Millennium Falcon is really, really powerful and definitely need to look at a way to maybe balance that out or just figure out how to deal with it, because that ripped through, a TIE Advance and 2 TIE Fighters without blinking an eye?
Yeah.
And that was a third of our force.
Yeah, it was fairly brutal when it came to the damage and the beating that the Millennium Falcon can take. And a lot of it is when you perform the upgrades that can do it and the modifications on the miniature to take it from a standard YT-1300 to
the Millennium
Falcon with Han and Chewie at the helm. That definitely does a lot for its ability to take a beating and its ability to maneuver a little bit better. The wonderful thing that I liked about it is that Fantasy Flight Games is putting out pre-painted, mass-produced miniatures that
are amazing.
The detail on them is phenomenal, and even with the expansions of Slave One and the Millennium Falcon, and we've seen the A-Wings,
TIE Interceptors,
they all look great, and it's really just a really well-made game.
Now, they sort of remind me of the molds that you used to get the Micro Machines, and they're very similar, about the same scale. But those Micro Machine ones, the paint jobs were mediocre. Sometimes you saw the bleed over on certain paint areas. Now, these things, they're crisp. They're beautifully painted. You don't need to add anything. I know a lot of people buy some miniature games, like Space Hulk, which is a 40K game, and I know Rob's bought it, and he's repainting all of the Space Marines so they look like Space Marines that you'd have in your normal army.
Right.
Or the Tyranid, same way. But this game, I don't think, maybe if you want to change some of the colors, like I know with the A-Wing, I would paint over the red with green because it would match the A-Wings you see in Return of the Jedi.
Right, and I've seen a few of them where people have modified them to either green or blue, or they've added the stripe for Soontir Fel's squadron.
There you go.
We've seen those types of mods, and they're really easy to do. You just put a little bit of paint on it and it sticks, no problem. So it is a really great game with really beautiful miniatures. You can find it at a wide variety of stores. Of course, you can find it online at your local gaming store, but even Barnes & Noble is carrying the miniatures, and they're right at standard manufacturer's suggested retail price, which for Slave One and the Millennium Falcon is $29.99 or $29.95. Now, Max, there was another game that you were talking about that you were looking at buying that you had seen on tabletop.
Yep, it's another real cheap game. Not real cheap. It's an under $20 game. Forbidden Island. It's a co-op game where you're basically trying to prevent an island from sinking and trying to find the treasure and then fly off the island. I believe you can play 2 to 4 player. It looked like a lot of fun on tabletop, and me personally, I like giving advice and working with other people in the board games. So the games I enjoy the most are usually cooperative games, and this just seems right down that alley. It just looks like it should be a lot of fun. It comes in a solid tin box.
Nice.
Which is definitely better than some of the cardboard boxes, and they won't break as easy. Which actually surprised me that the price point was still around $20, because usually if they're throwing them in a tin box, they're going to jump it a little bit more.
Exactly. So that's always good to see when game companies are still putting out really quality stuff. It's like Settlers of Catan. I think one of the big reasons that there's a draw is because you're getting real wood pieces instead of just some more molded plastic. And
Are they putting them out in wood now?
They have been putting them on wood.
Oh.
Settlers of Catan has always been produced with wood pieces. There might be mass market.
Oh, I'm thinking the little hexagons being wood.
No. The settlements and that's all wood. And that is really, it speaks a lot that they're still putting it out with wood pieces.
Oh, yeah, because they're solid. They won't bend or break.
Right. And it doesn't feel like cheap plastic. You're feeling like you're buying something substantial, which is always good. And, getting that value for your money is important. Now, one other thing that we want to touch on is, and this is going to take up the majority of this podcast, there's a lot of big news coming out of E3 this week, which is the major video game I guess it's like a release convention. Really, it's where companies show this is what we're going to have for you for the next year. You're going to see all this stuff. There's, all the information is coming out about the next generation consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One. We are going to do our best to stay on the positive side of everything and simply present the information out, give you our opinion on it, and let everybody make their own decisions. What we're seeing as we look at this list of games that we've got in front of us is that the majority of the games that have been announced for this year will be available on both of the new next generation systems.
Well, that's supposed to say both of them.
Yeah, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are going to not really have too many exclusive games. Of course, we'll see Halo come out. The new Halo game will come out just for the Xbox One, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare will be out just for the Xbox One as it's been announced so far. I think the only other game that is an exclusive is Infamous Second Son is out for PlayStation 4.
And Infamous has always been an Xbox-only game. Mad Max Mercenary Kings. I don't know how Mad Max games run. I love the movies. And that one's going to be a PS4
Man, the last
only.
time...
But these are just according to the IGN website. So everything we're saying could change. I highly doubt Infamous or Halo, Plants vs. Zombies could change. Mad Max might.
Now, the last Mad Max game that I remember was for the original NES. Let's just say I hope that they've gotten some ground on it.
Well, let's just say it's had a few generations to improve.
And Final Fantasy XIV has not yet been announced for Xbox One. Final Fantasy 15 has been announced for both consoles.
Absolutely.
But 14 is still, right now, just a PS4 game. There have been some official statements voiced this week. Sony came forward and said that PlayStation Network will remain at a free-to-play level. There will be no annual charges like there is with Xbox Live. They've announced that there will be no restrictions on sharing or playing
reselling of games
or playing used games, and that their console's not going to be backwards compatible, and it's coming in at a price point of $4.99, I believe. Or was it
$3.99? I believe is a low price, and I'm sure that there's going to be a $3.99, $4.99, $5.99,
right?
Depending on how big of a hard drive you want on your system.
Right. Now, the rumors floating around with the Xbox One is that it's going to come out starting at $4.99, $100 above the PS4. We're not going to get into the details of all of the rumors of what Microsoft has or hasn't said about it. It's a whole bunch of topics that we're not going to really try and dive into. But what we are going to do is cover some of the games that we're looking forward to seeing on each of the systems.
Would you like to start us off?
Sure. I know one of the big ones that I'm looking forward to is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I mean, you get to be a pirate and an assassin at the same time, and you get to pal around with Blackbeard. How much better can it get? The graphics on it look beautiful. Of course, it's going to be next-generation console, so the graphics are going to be even better than what they're showing us right now. A lot of the gameplay aspects of it look really great. The ability to switch between weapons look like it's going to be a little bit faster, and some of the action sequences going from boat to boat, etc. are going to be great. We're going to see a lot of the naval combat aspects that came out with Assassin's Creed 3 made even better with this one, since it's going to be focused primarily on the seas.
That makes sense with it being a Black Flag and pirates.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to getting to punch a shark in the face. That's just me.
Another game coming out that I know both Aaron and I play, another Call of Duty game. These always come out. This one's called Call of Duty Ghost. I like the Call of Duty games, not so much for their single-player story, which I tend not to play. I usually get online. I'll play some with Aaron and some with my other friends, and we usually get groups together, and it's just a lot of fun when you have a 6-man team going at it against other teams.
Yeah, the online multiplayer aspect is definitely the big draw of Call of Duty. I'm hoping that with this going back to Infinity Ward and away from Treyarch, that we're going to see the same type of quality that we got out of the Modern Warfare series, as opposed to the Black Ops series. I really think that we're going to see some improvements, and hopefully their system is going to... Infinity Ward will continue to make the good name for themselves with Call of Duty. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Me too. Didn't know whether we noted this. Both Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty will be on both systems.
Yeah, most of the games that we're going to cover are going to be on both systems. If not, we'll let you know.
Next on the list is Destiny. You were more interested in this than I am, but that's mainly because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, Destiny is the new one coming from Bungie, and it's a joint by Bungie and Activision. Now, Bungie, everybody knows because they did Halo. So we know that they're a competent studio and they know how to make a game. They know how to make a game that'll last and that'll keep people coming back.
And that can start a series.
Exactly. They can definitely start a franchise and keep it going. It looks really good. Up until E3, so I think Monday was when the first Destiny gameplay trailer dropped. Maybe it was Sunday. We had seen a lot of the cinematic type stuff. Their Law of the Jungle trailer made huge waves 2 weeks ago. This last week, we've seen the gameplay trailer come out, and it looks even better. It looks like it's going to be a first or third person shooter, but there's going to be some magic elements to it. There's going to be some higher technology elements to it. Lots of aliens, lots of robots, lots of big monsters. I think it's going to be really fun, and it's going to give us another thing that we can fall in love with besides Halo.
All right, with that description, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this game when it comes out.
Max, I will be able to talk you into getting this game.
Honestly, it's not going to be that hard of a conversation.
I know.
Next, I believe this will be Dragon Age 3 Inquisition. I like the Dragon Age 1 game a lot. Dragon Age 2, I played a little, and I ran into a lot of problems that I run into when I play sequels, is sometimes I just get bored of them real quick for some odd reason. It happened to me on Borderlands 2 and some other games that I just can't think of right now. But Dragon Age games have been solid. It's great storytelling. Dragon Age 1 and 2 had amazing graphics, and I can't imagine what they're going to do with the next generation systems and what they will be capable of.
I think we're just going to see another really beautiful game and hopefully a better storyline than Dragon Age 2.
Oh, you
Something
played
that'll
it?
keep you hooked. I played just a little bit of it, and I didn't dislike it, but it didn't grab me and pull me in.
Fair enough.
The big one that both Max and I are looking forward to that you heard Doug mention, I think, on our last podcast, if I didn't edit it out, is Star Wars Battlefront. EA made their announcement at E3 that we will see a Battlefront game. They gave us very little to go on. There was a little bit of screenshots from what looked like a cinematic. We got to see a snowspeeder crash. We got to see an AT-AT foot come down, and that was about it. It was about 40 seconds long. If you haven't seen it, YouTube it. You'll be able to find it, no problem. This one's going to be available for both systems, and if it's anything like Battlefront or Battlefront 2, I'll be happy with it.
Some other games that are coming out. Kingdom Hearts 3. I've always liked the Kingdom Hearts series 1 and 2. I really like the merging of the Disney universe with the Final Fantasy universe. It's always been a lot of fun. The games are sort of childish, but man, I just get into those games.
You know what I really liked about Kingdom Hearts? I didn't really get into the gameplay of it too much, but I was really impressed that they kept the majority of the same voice actors that were in the Disney cartoons in those games. So the same guy that did the voice for Jafar did the voice for Jafar.
Nice.
And such. And that was impressive to me. That they were not only willing to, bring the Disney characters to life in an anime type setting, but also that they kept the characters themselves whole, or as much as they could.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played Kingdom Hearts, the first game. I had just beaten Final Fantasy X, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running around the starting island, and I'm like, these characters in this town look horribly familiar. And I realized they were all the main characters from Final Fantasy X. And later on in the game, they bring back some of the major characters that you remember. Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, a lot of the other characters. And having played a lot of the Final Fantasy games and looked into them and watched some of the movies, it definitely just brought back a lot of good, fond memories, making the game not only I'm enjoying a Disney game, but it's just reminding me of all these other games that I loved and played and beat.
It's always great when a game can kind of make you think back, and you're not just enjoying the game that you're playing, but you're remembering at the same time. Really, it's like a double hook.
Yeah.
They do it so that we will love the game and buy more of them. It's a dirty trick, and we fall for it, because we're nerds, and that's what makes us happy.
And it's a great trick, and I hope that whole nostalgia feeling I have when I play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 stays with Kingdom Hearts 3. The only other game I really want to touch on, and just because I have weird feelings about massively multiplayer games on the console, is they are releasing Elder Scrolls Online for the PS4. And they'll be re-releasing DC Universe for the PS4.
Right, I remember you talking
online.
about that.
And I'm not sure. I've never played a MMO on the console. I've played DC Universe Online on the computer, and the major thing I noticed there is some of the limitations on the game that were put onto the game and carried over onto the computer because it was the same for both the PlayStation and the computer.
They just never developed those extra features for the PC.
Right, because they wanted the games to be the same, and they are. But on a PC, I have so many more keys, and I can write so many more macros, or just...
Right. There's more versatility to it on a PC.
Absolutely, that's it. More versatility on a PC. And on the PS3, they were limited. So at times, DC Universe felt a little too simplistic to me. But maybe my opinion would change if I played it on the PlayStation 3 or in the future on the PS4, where that's where I think it really was meant to be played.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. There's a couple of more on this that I want to touch on real quick. Really, they're continuations of a franchise. We're going to see another Metal Gear Solid game. I think that I'm more attached now to Metal Gear Solid, or that franchise, than I ever was due to Emerald City Comic Con, where we got to meet some of the really great people that voiced those characters.
Quentin and
Quentin Flynn and Phil Lamar.
Oh man, those guys are awesome and very nice.
Yeah, and when you get to see the faces that are behind those games, it gives you a greater attachment to it. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts, because Quentin was Axel in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, he was.
So, you get to see those people and meet them, and it's a better connection. So I think that the new Metal Gear Solid game, cross our fingers, is going to be the same type of epicness that we've seen. And I'm really, really excited to see Wolfenstein come back. I saw an ad for it the other day, and honestly, I didn't really know what the ad was for, except that there were Nazis in it, until the Wolfenstein text popped up.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, I'm completely behind this. 100%. Any game where you get to kill Nazis is a good game.
And they're bringing back the Thief series. Now, I'm not a major fan of the Thief series because it's very sneaky, stealthy. You're trying to sneak around and you're not trying to get in combat.
Right.
You're trying to avoid it. And that was one of the reasons I didn't like Halo ODST, because with normal Halo games, you just charged into fights. It didn't matter. You were
right.
Master Chief. You were beefy. They weren't going to hurt you as badly. But with ODST, you had to be a little more sneaky, and there was a little more finesse. And I'll openly state, I'm not the most finesse. I don't have much finesse when it comes to video game first-person shooters. I like just charging in there at times. But I have a friend, Rob, who loves Thief, has played all of the original games on the computer, and they are releasing a Thief game on the PS4 and the Xbox One. So I'm definitely thinking that it's nice that they're bringing back a series that I know certain people enjoy a lot.
Right.
And from what I can tell, a classic series.
Right. Well, and sometimes they'll release a game and you're thinking, why? Why in the world would they bring this game out when the first 2 times they brought it out, or brought out another one in the series, it didn't work? And then you see them, sometimes they'll pick up on what we're thinking and go, wait a minute, this was a good game. Maybe it's time we brought it back.
Yeah.
Which was really great. Something else I wanted to bring up, since we were talking about board games, and really Max has been making the majority of the board game suggestions, is I took his advice and I watched the quote-unquote Halo web movie, Forward Unto Dawn, since it's available on Netflix.
Great movie.
I watched it 3 times in 2 days. It is unbelievably cool. I tingled when Master Chief showed up, and it did make me excited for Halo 4, even though I know that I'm probably not going to get to play it in the near future. So keep in mind that we do the stuff that we talk about. We're not just hawking anybody's wares. Obviously, if we're asking for money to help us open our store, it's not like we're giving these reviews for our financial benefit. We're doing these podcasts and letting you guys know what stuff is good and what stuff isn't, or what our opinions are, so that you can make a more informed decision when you go out and spend your hard-earned money on your gaming. Okay, so to give our final opinions, Max, you going to go PS4, you going to go Xbox One, or if Nintendo pops something out, are you going to go that route?
Well, I used to love Nintendo. They used to make solid systems. They still make solid systems. Nintendo, in my opinion, has gone more towards the family, younger kid, trying to get everybody to play it, which means they've sort of left my demographic, or what I believe my demographic, behind. Well, and my gaming choices are usually more violence-oriented because...
Less family-friendly.
Less family-friendly. So I might consider their system depending on some of the titles that are released. If they come out with a Zelda game that looks good, or a good Super Mario where he has the fireball power because they have cut that power out so many times.
Okay, so let's call, Nintendo's at about a 30% maybe?
30% maybe is a good call. I was on the fence about the Xbox One. It's looking like I'm probably not going to... That probably won't be my first choice. It's definitely looking like the PS4 has enough of the same titles and some titles that I really like. First system I'm going to buy is the PS4. Then probably if I get a second system and Nintendo comes out with a good looking one, Nintendo will be the second. And if I really feel like spending a ton more money, it will probably come down to the Xbox One.
So probably 60% PS4, 30% Nintendo, maybe 10% Microsoft. Does that sound about right?
Let's drop Microsoft to about a 5% and bump PS4 up to a 65%. Actually, let's be honest, the PS4 is going to be purchased by me if I purchase a system.
Right, which we probably will, because it's time for next-gen systems to be bought, almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. Now, I've maybe got a little bit of a higher percentage towards a Nintendo, but that's just because my kids want a Wii. I've got a small apartment right now, so a Wii is out of the picture. If we buy a next-generation console when they come out prior to Christmas, it is definitely going to be a PS4. I'm liking what I'm hearing from Sony more than what I'm hearing from Microsoft, which is a rarity for me.
Agreed, it is a rarity.
But I really like the stance that Sony is taking towards their next generation console. Like you were talking about, the library of games that's going to be out is very comparable. I've never been super into Halo, so while I'm a little bit down that I won't get to play that game, it's not going to ruin my life. I'm much more into Star Wars Battlefront, much more into Call of Duty, and much more into Assassin's Creed, and
Destiny.
Really, really looking forward to Destiny. The more I see of it, the more I want it to be out yesterday and me to be able to afford it.
With that being said, I am sad. I've been a huge Halo fan, but with what I've heard about the Xbox One, Halo just isn't enough to push me towards that system.
Yeah, one game isn't enough to drive. It shouldn't be enough to drive anybody to a specific gaming system.
The games that probably would have changed my opinion is if Kingdom Hearts had only been for the Xbox, had the Final Fantasies only been for the Xbox, and Halo, that would have been enough. Those are 5 or 6 games.
Right.
Definitely would have pushed me towards the Xbox One, but with the fact that only Halo is the exclusive...
well, and I can say that, honestly, my percentages are probably 75-25 for Sony and then Nintendo. I mean, if somebody gives me an Xbox One, I'm not going to spit in their face. I'll take it. But my primary system is going to be the PS4 after this release. And, you know, knowing me, I'll probably get the PS4 in about a year and a half.
Also, I think what should factored into my decision is a lot of my game group who play Call of Duty Black Ops now, but Call of Duty Ghost probably in the future, are getting the PS4s. So if I want to play in my Monday evening games, I'm going to need a system that works with theirs. I know of at least 4 or 5 of them that are getting the PS4s. Only one is considering the Xbox One, and he doesn't really play with us online. So that sort of also made my decision. What my friends are playing and what they're going with. And from what I've heard, PS4 is the way we're going.
Well, and not only that, but with a PS4, you probably still get a built-in Blu-ray player. They haven't announced it, but I would assume that they're not going to toss that feature.
It would be a stupid... I mean, it wouldn't be I do believe it would be a stupid feature to lose. I mean, you've already you're probably running off a Blu-ray disc.
Games anyway, you might as well do it.
It's just a little bit more software. And basically, the PlayStation software is the same software they use on their Blu-ray players, because I have one of their Blu-ray players upstairs. I look at it, it just is minus the video game part of it. So realistically, they're not adding any new software probably.
Which is a good standpoint for Sony to take.
Right, and I do like that universal part of it, that if I know how to use my Blu-ray player, I have a pretty good idea of how to use my PlayStation 3 since I know how to use my Sony Blu-ray player.
So, overall vote, well, I can say 2 votes, is going to be for the PS4 over the Xbox One.
Honestly, we can probably say, including the game group we were sitting in today,
that's 5 more, or there was 6 of us, so there's 5 votes. I think that we're going to see a big shift in the gaming world, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It keeps the competition high, which means Microsoft might come back with something amazing either midway through this generation or in the next generation to try to regain what they've lost or what they might lose, because you never know. Our 6 opinions in this little discussion we had today could be very unique to the entire country, and it could go drastically the other direction.
Well, you and I have been reading a lot of the same internet comments. I don't think that we're unique in any way, shape, or form. We're just more polite about it than a lot of people.
Fair enough.
So, check it out. If anybody wants to know the stuff that we're talking about that we're being vague about on purpose, all you have to do is look up Microsoft statements online. You can Google it. You'll find it. Form your own opinion. So those are our opinions on the next generation consoles that we know about, the information that we have that's concrete and has been released, about some of the games that are coming out. Definitely check out those board games. Again, that was Resistance, King of Tokyo, and Forbidden Island were the recommendations that we made, as well as X-Wing miniatures. Again, available at your local gaming store. Support your local store first. Before you go online to buy it, check out your local store. 9 times out of 10, it's the same price.
If you're on the fence about any of the 3 of the games we mentioned, Resistance, King of Tokyo, or Forbidden Island, go to YouTube, look up Tabletop. You'll get to see the games played, and you'll get a feel for how they run, and you'll have a much better idea of whether you'll enjoy them. I've been using Tabletop for that purpose, and it's led me to 2 amazing games, and I'm hoping to an amazing 3rd game.
As usual, thank you everyone for listening. We are very grateful for everybody that tunes into our podcast on even a semi-regular basis. Everybody that's donated to our campaign, we're immensely grateful for helping us to raise the funds to bring back what we feel is one of the best quality gaming stores that's ever been, and we're hoping to make it the best quality gaming store that ever will be. Definitely bounce over to our campaign, check that out. Thanks everybody for listening, we really appreciate it. As usual, for the MonkeyCast, I am Aaron Holbrook.
I am Max Brandeis.